This is the Jazz Web Shed podcast, where you can learn how to function as a musician and a businessman with the opportunities we have presented with technology and the internet. All right, welcome to this week's call for Jazz Web Shed conference call. This is the first one we are doing this year. Can you believe it? 2013 has rolled in. Happy New Year to everybody. And what I wanted to talk about, first of all, Jazz Web Shed is a concept that came to me a few years ago. And, oh, yeah, you can press *6 if you want to mute your phone if you have background noise. And if we get to a point and you want to ask a question, you can unmute it by pressing *6 again. But Jazz Web Shed is something that came to me a few years back while I was practicing one evening, and this idea came to me, you know, with all of this experience and information that I've learned just as a jazz musician and traveling musician, playing and recording. I've recorded 5 CDs, and I've been recording since I was 19. I recorded my first CD, I believe, at 19. And even when I was in high school, I was always recording stuff. I made tapes and stuff, my own little tapes when I was like in 9th grade, you know, around 14 or so. So I've always been the type of person that was always recording things. And but anyway, over the years, just from playing gigs, different places, and collecting those recordings and practicing with other cats and having bootleg recordings of performances and stuff, you know, this idea came to me to have a way that cats can access all of this stuff and have it to where I can, you know, benefit financially from the stuff that I just do naturally. And so the internet, because of the opportunity that presented itself with the internet with websites like MySpace and later Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that, I saw an opportunity to create a website so that I could have all of this stuff in it. And so the idea came to me to have an online shed for jazz musicians. And shed was really to capture both meanings of the word, because shed for musicians means like to practice, you know, and that's the whole point, to like overcome your old self and come into a new. And that's one way of looking at shed. And then the other aspect of shed is shed meaning like a storage shed, a place where you can go and access your tools. And so within Jazz Web Shed, we have licks. I put up licks of the day, just different licks that I come up with that I hear and stuff that I've, you know, made up over time. And I just record them and store them in there for you guys to check them out, learn them, and put them in different keys and stuff. And we also have lessons on approaching changes and different things, different licks. Lessons on playing over certain combination of chords and also some standards, jazz standards and stuff like that. Also have master classes where I cover various topics: how to release a CD, how to promote your CD, and how to create like a funnel and to draw attention to yourself, because it's not only important for musicians to learn how to play, but once you develop your skills in a particular genre or area, you know, you want to be able to get people to get turned on to what you do, and that's the marketing part. And, of course, once they get into what you're doing, they're going to want to buy something, either buy your track or buy your CD or whatever, you know, come to a performance. And I think a lot of musicians, they have a tradition of just focusing on the music and just expecting other people to do everything else. But we live in a day and age where that's gone. It's like you have to wear different hats. And so I talk about those three categories of music or jazz instruction, music marketing, and business, because that's what I had to do. I've always done it as an independent jazz musician, so I thought it'd be cool to just put it all in one place so cats could benefit and learn not only jazz instruction but also how to market themselves and make money through what you do. So the topic for tonight, I was looking through my hard drive and I found a lesson, and actually it was an older lesson with a student, a private student, and we went over a blues. We went over a line, a phrase for some phrases and stuff to go over a blues in the key of G flat. So I'm going to turn this up so y'all can hear it good. All right. So I thought it was cool to cover this, because in the blues, you have a 12-bar blues, and that's where I started. That's where it all started, with the blues, and from there, it kind of evolved into other styles and song forms. But when I got started learning jazz, that's one of the first things we started with, is learning how to play over a blues. And I know a lot of music that we might play today might not be blues per se, but I believe that it's a good tool to help you develop in the area of call and response, because that's the whole thing about playing music or improvising, is having a call and response, interaction with the musicians that you're playing with, and also answering yourself. Like if you put out a melody, you want to connect something to that melody, that idea that you presented, So let's do this. I'm going to slow down because I was going to play this line that I made over blues, but what I'm going to do to start with, I'm going to outline a blues, and I'm going to play my E-weave, and I'm going to play through the form of a 12-bar blues in the key of G flat. So I went through the whole form right there. The formula for it, you go from the 1 to the 4, back to the 1, then the 1 again, then the 4, 4 again, back to the 1. Then we go to the 3, 6, then the 2, to the 5, to the 1, 6, 2, 5. Back to the 1. So that's the form for a blues, a 12-bar blues. And so what I do to work on playing over the blues, I just think about simple phrases that I can play, and think about the call and response. Okay? So let me give you something simple to start with. Okay, let me play the walk the bass line a little bit so that you can hear it, and then after that I'm going to solo a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, go. Take your time. Okay, so I kind of got lost. I missed the change on that 3-6 going to the 2. But one thing you have to do, you have to know what the form is. You got to know the changes. I've been playing blues for years, so I kind of know where I'm at. But one thing that you have to do, you got to slow your mind down, slow your ears down. Sometimes we'll hear too much. Like I was trying to hold back, because what you want to do is try to connect lines that naturally fit instead of just playing just to play. You know what I'm saying? Force yourself to play what you hear in response to what you've already played. So let me slow it down. Let me break it up because I went through the whole form. I kind of went through some choruses. But let me slow it down. Let me break it down. As we go from the 1 chord to the 4, okay, that much. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Then we go to the 4 right there. Now I'm going to play a phrase. I'm going to play something simple that'll just fit over those first 4 bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's a good little phrase right there. One more time. 1, 2. So now that I played that, I got to connect something to that phrase that fits. It's kind of like telling a story. You got to make sure that your story makes sense. And if you want to get a little extravagant or something climactic, build up to it and make it naturally connect within the storyline that you're presenting musically. Okay? So let me try it again. I'm gonna try to add something to what I've already done. 1, I'm gonna start and play what I just did from the beginning. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right there. So I don't know if I can repeat that, but let me try it again. 3. Yeah, I forgot it. It's gone. But anything that I play, I got to make sure that I hear a melody that naturally connects to what I played. But of course, the thing about music is always moving. So it's kind of like you got to make sure that when you come out with your ideas, you're putting them in the right place on the card. And the way that you can do that, you really got to ingrain the chord changes in your system, because it's one thing to just freestyle and play and you don't know what's coming next. And it's another thing to, when you know the chords and you know what's coming next, it's like you can kind of anticipate what's happening and kind of relax. Your mind can kind of focus on something else and focus on the feeling of the music, or you can focus on what you're hearing harmonically, something rhythmically. You know what I'm saying? You can think about different things and free your mind up when you know the song. When you don't know the song, you're forced to put your mindset in a way where it's like, okay, what's happening next? What's going on next? What I'm gonna play next? And so that disturbs your flow. So that's why it's always important to really practice or play stuff over and over. Just have stuff looped. One of the things that I do when it comes to learning music, like what I mentioned before when we talked about working in the studio, the stuff that I had to play in the studio, I listened to like months in advance. I just was listening to the songs over and over. I just had them playing over and over. And that way I memorized the pattern. And our mind is an interesting thing because, when we hear stuff over and over, it's in there. It's like, it's a pattern that's created. And so when you got that pattern in your head, in your mind that you've heard before, when you get your instrument, when you play, you'll just fall in place because you know what's coming next. But just imagine if you haven't heard a song before and somebody's springing on you and say solo and you don't have a chart or anything, of course that's going to be hard because you're just getting introduced to that musical pattern for the first time. So it's like you can't relax and just play because you're always thinking about, okay, what's coming next? So when you play stuff, when you listen to stuff over and over, it helps to create that pattern. And the reason why I said that is because once you got that pattern, like for instance, like a blues, no matter what key I'm in, I can play a blues and I can create a story over the blues just because
I'm listening to Jazz Webshed Podcast. To get free video training and find out how you can access more exclusive content such as jazz lessons, licks, conversations, masterclasses, downloadable MP3s, and more, go to jazzwebshed.com. I look forward to shedding with you within Jazz Webshed, the online shed for jazz musicians.